Hey, welcome back to Chaotic Evil Games. It's Luke again. Thanks for stopping by. Today we're going to take another look at a Black Crusade supplement. This time it's the Tome of Fate for the followers of Tzeentch. Really cool book in the most grim and dark RPG to ever be printed. Let's check it out. Alright, well here's the Tome of Fate from Black Crusade. It's a source book for Black Crusade for the followers of Tzeentch. This was published by Fantasy Flight Games, I think around 2012. It's been out of print for quite a while, but all the books for Black Crusade, Death Watch, Only War, Dark Heresy, and Rogue Trader, those are all available through DriveThruRPG via Cubicle 7. The books are gorgeous. They're very well indexed with bookmarks and just it's an amazing system. It's an amazing set of rules, mechanics, and the artwork and the background and the fluff, mythology and everything is spot on for what you would expect in a 40k game. So I'm gonna flip through it. I'm gonna read selections of it. Not gonna go into a whole lot of detail, but this is just an opportunity for you to decide if it's what you're looking for to add to your game, if there's something you can extrapolate from it to make use of. Tzeentch is the chaos god of change. From his impossible labyrinth deep within the warp, he schemes unfathomable plans far beyond what mortal minds can comprehend. 4 new heretic archetypes stand ready to join the fight, as well as foul demons, arcane weaponry, mighty demon engines, and vile minions for followers of the Master of Fate. Players of all alignments gain potent new psychic powers and demonic rights to fuel their struggle against the hated Imperium. The fallen forges of the Hollows, the mutants of dread Korvoska, and the ancient Necrons awakening from within the pillars of eternity. These and other secrets of the screaming vortex now stand revealed. All this and more lies within, including a dangerous new adventure on the sorcerous world of Crusade. Seize the power to master your fate. Alright, well, can't argue with that. That type of sales pitch. How can you resist? So, I did another video of the Tome of Blood, which is a source book for the followers of Khorne, and it basically follows the same format. You have 4 new archetypes. Well, first you have a history of Tzeentch, and then you have the new archetypes, where you learn about Thousand Sons and the Alpha Legion. Then you have new weapons, demon weapons, different locations, different histories, and then an adventure at the very end that is specific to the book. So again, you've got probably 20 pages of fluff and background regarding Tzeentch, the changer of ways, how all things are changed, the impossible labyrinth. There's a lot of history here that you can dive into if that's what you're into. If it's not, you can skip over it, just play the game, use the rules as presented, and kind of let it describe itself. The rules are so crunchy and multifaceted that your character will be unique. The game is very well structured off the lore and background of 40k. We've got Demon Princes and the Lord of Change right here. Screamers and Discs, Horrors, Demonic Heralds, Flamers, Sorcerers, Psychers, Sorcerers and Psychers, the Thousand Sons, different mortals that are followers of Tzeentch. Some of the craziest artwork is in these books I've ever seen. It's really impressive. They took what 40k is known for, having really impressive visuals, and built upon it. This one right here, I've seen that before somewhere. It's a super impressive book. So you have a Thousand Sons Sorcerer, is one of the archetypes. Alpha Legion Chaos Space Marine. You saw Magister Immaterial, Human Sorcerer Scientist. idolatrix magos of forged pollux, a corrupt technomagi who have dedicated their lives to unholy research. And then there's a section of new weapons, expanded psychic powers, and ritual rules. So that's something that this book has that the Tome of Blood did not. Tome of Blood being a source book for the followers of Khorne. I don't believe there are any psychic abilities in that book whatsoever, because Khorne is not into that. There was a whole section on rites and rituals for summoning demons and stuff, so that's as close as they get. Let's see what we've got to say about the Thousand Sun Sorcerer. Thousand Sun Sorcerers dedicate themselves to the pursuit of knowledge in all of its forms, striving to master every discipline available to them. All subjects, no matter how trivial or obscure, are worthy of their careful consideration and keen intellect. They have spent their lives in study and contemplation, and all possess a uniquely intuitive and enlightened view of the universe. Ancient artifacts, Xenos constructs, and forgotten tomes are considered valuable objectives for this legion, who investigate such objects without the prejudices of their imperial adversaries. They believe all artifacts, regardless of origin, may contain valuable information and warrant pursuit and examination. Many Thousand Suns extensively study both Xenos and so-called heretical artifacts, viewing the unknown potential locked within as neither tainted nor debased. To them, any such power is exactly that, power. So the Thousand Sun Sorcerer must be a Chaos Space Marine, not a human, obviously. +5 willpower, +5 fellowship, 15 to corruption, 9 to infamy. Their skills are dealing with lore, forbidden lore, involving the warp, psychic energy, Xenos, scholastic lore, and occult and legend. Starting traits: Psyker, a natural willpower, Rulebook of Ahriman, a wealth of talents that involve being a Psyker. Starting gears: a Legion bolt pistol, Force sword, 2 clips of Tzeentchian Inferno bolts, Talisman of Tzeentch. Wounds is 15 plus 1d5. As a sorcerer, the special ability, the heretic gains the Psyker trait listed above, a psi rating of 3 and 1 corruption point. When determining psychic strength, see the main rulebook, he counts as bound. Definitely, probably with one of the more popular archetype choices to be had in this game. Here we have Alpha Legion Chaos Space Marine. The following are some of the ways you can be an Alpha Legion Chaos Space Marine. It's often speculated whether individual warriors have their own agendas, are part of a grand scheme involving unknown additional agents, or act as some combination of both. Members of the Alpha Legion rarely divulge any information that is not of critical importance to a mission. In fact, so little is known of the Legion's motives. Many rumors and legends of grand schemes and labyrinthine plots have surrounded the Legion since the beginning of the Long War. And again, they do, let's see if they have any psychic abilities. Looks like they have some skills involving forbidden lore. Legion bolt gun, Legion bolt pistol, 4 frag grenades, Chameleoline cloak or disguise kit, demolition kit, 15 plus 1d5 wounds. Deceitful tactics. The Alpha Legion is perhaps the most enigmatic of the forces of chaos, even among its would-be allies. Members of the Alpha Legion take full advantage of this fact, deliberately misleading and manipulating supporters and agents in favor of their own hidden objectives. Once per session, an Alpha Legion Chaos Space Marine may substitute his Deceive skill during an opposed infamy test for the purposes of obtaining services and manipulating others. Very wordy rule set. It definitely appears more tangled and knotted up than what it really is when you sit down to play. It's not as simple as saying, -1 to hit, or 3 up and vulnerable save or whatever, but it's a little wordy. It's a little bit to unpack. Here's a QSOL Magister Immaterial. Magister Immaterials pursue many scholastic and esoteric fields of study. Such inquiries often serve to enhance the sorcerer's erudition and unlock new paths of scientific research. In some cases, they may instead apply their studies to their already considerable psychic abilities, or even use them when bargaining for the blessings of Tzeentch. So, just like Tome of Blood, and I'm assuming the other 2 books, which I'm not familiar with, the other 2 supplement books for Black Crusade, that is, the Tome of Decay and the Tome of, I'll have to look it up. I'll put a link in the description when I figure it out, but all 4 of those books, each dedicated to the Ruinous Gods. You have 2 Chaos Space Marines, and then 2 human archetypes in each book. And this guy, he must be human, +5 to intelligence, +5 to willpower, 5 to fellowship. You pick one of the City of Kusals for the homeland skills. Pick one city of Kusal for the homeland skills, so depending on where you want your character to be from, you have 3 choices here: Tarnor, Velk, Lear, Surgub. Depending on where you're from, you get to pick, you get a different set of skills. Starting traits: Chaos Psyker, Magus Supremus. And then starting talents: Psychic rating ×4, up to 500 XP worth of psychic powers chosen from the unaligned. Divination, a whole set of talents to pick from. And then wounds, 8 + 1d5. So definitely the weakest archetype that I've seen so far, but the psychic abilities make up for it. The Heretic is a rogue psyker and begins play with the psyker trait, a psi rating of 4 and 1d5 corruption points. In addition, when determining his psychic strength, he counts as unbound. Lastly, we have the Magos of Forge, playing an Idolatrix Magos of Forge Pollux. An Idolatrix Magi are unified in their tireless quest to gather information for their dark designs. Incredibly learned and driven individuals, they believe their works to be of the utmost importance. All other considerations, including allies, resources, or anything else, are subject to the needs of their research, and any impediment is removed as efficiently as possible. Magos may obtain his data from a variety of subjects and sources. Some pore furiously over forgotten tomes of blasphemous lore, while others may ceaselessly hunt for long-lost technology to study and twist towards their own corrupt purposes. Definitely looks like a cool character to have playing in an RPG. They must be human, +10 to intelligence, +5 to willpower. What else do we have here? Starting traits: Blasphemous Studies, Mechanicus Implants, Psyker. And again, there's so many skills, talents, and gear that's available with all the different archetypes that the character is kind of just built on that set of variables. So even if you're not familiar with 40K and all the fluff and the novels and background, play the game long enough and see the differences between the characters and the NPCs, then you'll know really you'll get a taste for what the flavor of the game really is. So, and here we've got some weapons: a soul cannon, Q-Soul soul cannon. Only 2 ranged weapons in this book. These are the Q-Soul Crystal Caster and the Q-Soul Soul Cannon. I wonder if those are able to be used by that wizard, the weak human wizard, or sorcerer rather. Pandemonium Stab. Potent demon weapons of immense power, Pandemonium Stabs are wielded only by Tzeentch's greatest champions. Longer than a man is tall and consisting of a single rod of roughly hewn and psychically bonded black granite, these stabs tend to cast unnatural shadows, drawing in nearby light and glowing softly in a pattern that can make those stare at it too long feel sick. The dull glow quickly changes to a bright white when the wielder channels his own psychic energy down the length of the staff, and the demon contained within screams out, adding its own caged fury to the power of the attack. A Pandemonium Staff is a demon weapon with a willpower of 80 and a binding strength of 4. It has the accursed, howling, living magic, and sorcerer's force demon weapon attributes. The Pandemonium Staff requires 2 hands to use, can be used as a psi focus, and can only ever be wielded by someone that possesses the mark of Tzeentch. Well, I wouldn't think of doing otherwise. Sounds like a really badass weapon. Here's special ammunition, Tzeentchian Inferno bolts, crystal caster shells, armor, force fields, war gear, crown of Prospero. Really awesome stuff represented in role-playing format. I don't know, sometimes you see games that get crossed over. It might go into a video game, or a video game to tabletop, or a war game to a video game, or whatever. To take 40K and move it into an RPG, I don't think it could have been done any better. The books are gorgeous, the presentation is gorgeous, the rules and the background are represented, and you can play it in a whole new dynamic rather than, charge, attack, psychic phase, shooting phase, Overwatch. It's got a whole new level of dynamic to it. So here we've got all the psychic powers, unaligned powers, Nurgle powers, Slaanesh. Just really cool stuff for playing the game. I've never paid a lot of attention to psychic powers because I always play Khorne. I play Bloodbound and AOS, and demons, Khorne demons, World Eaters, so there's no psychic powers happening anywhere in my 40K. And that's alright. There's exalted powers, biomancy powers, I remember seeing these books at it was either Borders or Barnes & Noble. I want to say it was Borders before they went out of business. And I'd stand there and flip through them, and I thought, man, this is some savage artwork. I mean, they just don't care. This is the most intense, brutal imagery that I could find in that whole bookstore. Alright, so here we've got the Screaming Vortex is an ever-twisting and ever-changing spiral of worlds and rival factions. Here there are a few places without some intrigue to be investigated, some power to be grasped, or some new and terrible foe to fight. Beyond all this, conflict, mystery, and death sets the Architect of Destiny, the Master Manipulator, and the Lord of Lies, the Chaos God Tzeentch. And with every waking moment of the agents of Tzeentch work tirelessly to complete the labyrinthine schemes and plots dictated to them by their master's eternally changing whims. So it begins with an investigation. There's an introduction, they leave clues, everything is outlined, and then the adventure builds. It's definitely involved. It definitely involves some deep diving. It's not something that I don't think that a game master could wing it necessarily. I think he would have to really become familiar with this material before presenting it to the players. Though the Eye of Terror is possibly the largest and most well-known area of warp space intrusion, multiple others are scattered around the galaxy. The Screaming Vortex is one such anomaly, born of the same cataclysm which ruined the Eldar civilization and created the Eye in its wake. There's so much background to it, it's just amazing. Sorcerer Technocrats of Kusal, Demon Engines, Aether Ray, the Runtar, Mirror Fiend. There's so much background to everything, so much fluff. It really is amazing. Anyone who gets the rule books for 40K and really enjoys the fluff and the background, they won't be disappointed here. I mean, every entry, I think there's a lot more fluff than there is actual rules, which makes it a bit daunting, I'll admit. It's a bit overwhelming. A lot of times someone will see a rule book or whatever for a game, and it'll be 400 pages, and they'll be overwhelmed and think, oh, I have to know all that to play the game. But really, that's not really the case. You only have to know maybe 20 or 30% of the book, which is the rules, and of those rules, probably only 10% of them come up on a regular basis. You have to be really familiar with. So, Protean Strain Mutant, Corvascan Mutant, the Flaming Tomb, that sounds like fun. A burned and blackened orb floating above the milky plane of the lower vortex. The Flaming Tomb at first appears just to be another volcanically volatile world, its surface a random pattern of light and darkness as fissures and cracks in its ever-ending crust reveal the surging magma beneath. But from certain perspectives it is almost as if a pattern emerges from a seemingly random movement, if only one were to look from the right vantage, in the right frame of mind, and at the right moment. Look at this guy. He's intense. He's having a bad day for sure. Demons of Tzeentch, the Burning Men, strangest inhabitants of the Flaming Tomb, are by far the creatures of solid lava that rise up out of the magma seas at times of particular upheaval within the vortex. Super cool stuff. And then there's the cover art, the Flamer of Tzeentch. And here's the Necrons. Necrons are a race ancient beyond reckoning, and the god beings that granted them immortality are as old as the stars themselves. The denizens of the Screaming Vortex know little about this ancient menace, though they know more than the ignorant, willfully blind slaves of the Corpse Emperor. Ha! Pillars of Eternity, the Eternal Legions, killer artwork. I think that was an older codex, maybe 6th or 7th edition. I recently got into Necrons with the Indomitus box set, so this is pretty interesting to flip through and see the units represented here. Lich Guard, Necron Lords, Destroyers, Tombblade. It's basically the whole army right here. That's really cool. Someone could write up an adventure based on just the Necrons with the amount of information that's just presented here. Here's an entire set of Necron weapons. Gauntlets of Fire, Heavy Gauss Cannon, Particle Beamer, Rod of Night, Staff of Light, Dispersion Shields. Everything's here. This is as real as it gets. And then here's Toppled Spires. This is the adventure. Toppled Spires is a Black Crusade adventure that plunges the heretics into a whirling, deadly maelstrom of intrigue and bloodshed as they are caught up in a war between three rival sorcerers of the city of cegrpg on Crusade. Here's the adventure plot. Toppled Spires is a deliberately open adventure in which the heretics are presented with three powerful individuals, each of whom might prove to be a patron, an ally, or an enemy. The Game Master is provided with setting details and a means of introducing the player characters to each of the rival sorcerers. The antagonists have their own agendas to pursue, and the heretics might choose to become involved in some or all of these, or to work against them to their own ends. I mentioned that in the Tome of Blood, the adventure. Yeah, I think my next video I'm going to roll up some characters from the Black Crusade core rulebook, and I'll include a couple from this book and the Tome of Blood, and just kind of work through some of the adventures, see how it goes, because it's definitely worth playing. You know, if you're tired of whatever game you're playing now and you haven't played this is your opportunity. It's a cool advertisement, some artwork I haven't seen before. This is for, I think it was on PS3. Space Marine, yep. So there it is. That's the Tome of Blood for a Black Crusade, and hope you enjoyed the video. If you're interested in picking up a copy, if you really want to spend the money, you can go to eBay. If you want a bookmarked PDF, it is available on DriveThruRPG. Check the description for the links. Leave me a comment, hit the subscribe and like button, ring the bell for my next video, and hope to see you soon. Thanks for watching.